definitions for holding patterns. One says, the flight path maintained by an aircraft awaiting permission to land. So you have to wait for the air traffic controllers to tell you your plane can land. You can't do anything until they tell you. And the second one is a state or period of no progress or change. A state or period of no progress or change. In other words, you're just there. You're not moving. You're like running on a treadmill, moving, but ain't going nowhere. That's like being in a holding pattern. Now, this holding pattern is a maneuver designed to delay an aircraft already in flight while keeping it within specific airspace. Now, that's important. And the pattern that you're putting is by design, and it's very specific. This is what a holding pattern is. Now, you just can't go into the pattern wherever you want. The pattern is the blue lines. But you have to be told exactly when and where you can enter that pattern. And then you're told exactly when and where you can exit. It's not haphazard, it's not by chance. It is very specific by purpose and by design. And I believe that that is how God sometimes handles our situation. We as a church, I believe I as an individual, because I always say that my life is attached by the hip to our church. We are like twins, basically, are in such a position. We are in a holding pattern. Can anybody relate so far? Now, to be able to handle being in a holding pattern, it requires one of the fruits of the Spirit. And that is the fruit of patience. Amen. Because being in a holding pattern means you are what? Waiting. And waiting requires patience. Now, although waiting and patience work together, they are different. They're together, but they're also separate. Now, in the kingdom, needing patience normally means that you're waiting for God. That image right there, that's my Facebook page right there. Because I believe that that's me. Although he's not bald head. You see now. But that's what patience is. It means that you're waiting for God in the kingdom. And I have come to realize that patience and waiting for God are not the same thing. Let me break this down. Can I break this down for you? Mm-hmm. So patience is needed when you know the outcome of something, but you want it to happen right now. So I know what's going to happen, but I want it now. That requires patience, right? So you need patience to wait for dinner. That's simple. You need patience to wait to go on vacation. You need patience to wait for your income tax check to come, if it's a refund. You need patience to wait for the right person. Now, to me, these things aren't really that hard because you know what's going to happen. But you just have to be patient. So that requires another fruit of the Spirit. That requires self-control. That you know what's happening, I just need to have some control and wait for God and let Him bring it to me. However, when we are waiting on God, we don't know the outcome. We don't know when it will happen. We can't even guarantee that it's going to happen. We are waiting for God. We are in a holding pattern. We're waiting and we're wondering for what is next. This is hard. So what do you do when you're waiting for God? What do you do when you're waiting for an outcome that you don't know what the outcome is even going to be? What do you do if you are believing that God spoke to you about something and you are just waiting for it? Do you just wait for it in faith? Or do you start to look at other things just in case maybe I didn't hear God correctly? Do you set up a plan B in case plan A from God is not really what you think is really from God? What do? If you set up a plan B, are you saying, God, I don't trust you? Are you saying, God, I'm not sure if I heard you correctly? I heard Eddie Murphy say this one time. He said when he was coming up as an entertainer, he didn't have a plan B. He doesn't believe in plan B. He says by having a plan B, you're saying that your plan A is not going to happen. So if we are focused and know that we are having faith, we're trusting, we're believing, and we're going to receive that God has spoken something to us, do we waver off and make sure that we have something in our back pocket just in case? Is that showing lack of faith? Or is that being proactive? 1 Samuel talks about, and to summarize, it talks about lack of faith or lack of patience can cause you to miss your blessing. Being in a holding pattern is a vital part of trusting and waiting for God. So let's talk about this for a minute. But in doing so, I want to bring some Bible study into it. Is that okay? Now, you all been with me for over a year. What do I say more than anything else in my sermon? I got Bible back here. I will never say anything to you that I can't back up with Scripture. Because it ain't my opinion. It's the Word of God. Now, many of us know the Scripture, Habakkuk 2:2. I'm sure somebody can quote that right now. Habakkuk 2:2 says, write the vision and make it plain, so that he who reads it might run with it. We love that scripture. Listen, I have this plan. It's a vision from God. I'm going to write it down so in case I can't finish it, somebody can come behind me and see it through. Write the vision and make it plain, so that he who reads it might run with it. That's Habakkuk 2:2. We love that scripture. But what about Habakkuk 2:3? What about Habakkuk 2:3? Which says, for the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it will speak and it will not lie. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come. It will not tarry. Now, when you first read that, you're saying that is a lot of confusing stuff. Because you just said one thing and you said something totally opposite right behind it. I'm really confused. What are you saying? For the vision is yet for an appointed time. Whatever vision God has given to you, whatever you're trying to do, whatever you're believing for, whatever you're trusting God for, it has to happen at the time that God has planned it to happen. Amen. That's why you're in your holding pattern. Because you can't land your plane yet. Because the ground is not ready for you. It's not fertile. It's still being watered. So God has to prepare the ground so your plan can land, so you're in your holding pattern, because it says the vision is yet for an appointed time. It's not your time. Think about the very first miracle that Jesus did at the wedding at Cana. When his mother said they ran out of wine. And he said to her, it's not yet my time. But it was. But he didn't know it. So it wasn't his time yet. Even Jesus had a specific time to start his miracle ministry. Then it keeps saying, it says, but at the end it will speak, it will not lie. That says that it is definitely going to happen. When God is ready to land the plane for you, it will happen. It will not lie. This is when it gets confusing. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come. It will not tarry. Or is it going to tarry, or is it not going to tarry? Tarry means take a long time. Is it going to take a long time, or is it not? What God is telling us here that in your mind, it's taking a long time. But because the vision has a specific time, no, it is not late. You are impatient. So although it seems like it's taking so long, I'm in this holding pattern, we're going in circles. Why aren't you landing on plane? Because I can't land it yet, God is saying to you. So in your mind, it's tarrying, but God's saying, no, it's not, I'm right on time. So though it tarry in our carnal mind, in the spirit, it will not be late. Think about King David. King David was appointed king when he was 17 years old by Samuel. You will be the next king of Israel at 17. He became king at 32. It took him 15 years to become what God told him he would become. And you can't wait 15 weeks? 15 years he waited to become what he was appointed to become. And look at all that happened between that time. Everything that happened in King David between 15 and 32 was preparing him to become king. If he didn't have that prep time, maybe he would not have been the greatest king of Israel ever had. So if David, the greatest king of Israel, can wait 15 years, I think we as a church can wait 4 or 5 weeks. Yes. Amen. Amen. Let's look at 2 Peter 3:8. It says, but do not forget this one thing, dear friends. With the Lord, a day is like 1,000 years, and 1,000 years is like a day. That tells us that we cannot even start to conceive time the way God does. God does not live in time. He lives totally outside of it. He has no concept of our natural time. So think about it. What happened 1,000 years ago? What would that be? 1 year 1020? That's 1,000 years ago. I don't even know what was going on back then. But yet for God, that's the same as yesterday. We can't conceive that. But that's why it seems like to us, God is taking so long. But God, I've been waiting a year. He's like, really? I thought it was like 4 seconds. We're not on the same page when it comes to time. So that's why we have to have patience. Now, we like that scripture. Somebody knows that scripture, but Peter didn't come up with that himself. Peter took that from Psalm 94, which says 1,000 years in your sight is like a day that had just gone by. That's Old Testament. 1,000 years and a day to God are the same exact thing. If you ever feel like your holding pattern is too long, you have to stand on those scriptures and know that God's timing has nothing to do with our carnal time. And consider Habakkuk 2:3. Although it seemed like it's taking a long time, in God's eyes, it is not. So it says, wait for it, it will not tarry, and don't give up. Don't give up. Well, why not? I'm tired of waiting. I just want to give up. We don't give up because of Galatians 6 and 9. Let us not become weary in doing good. Here it is again. For at the proper time, we will reap a harvest. Why? If we don't give up. That is Galatians 6:9. Let us not become weary in doing good, for at the proper time we will reap a harvest if we don't give up. I can give you a guarantee. There's one guarantee that will happen to you if you give up. Mark my word. This is a guarantee. You will guarantee to fail. That's the guarantee. You give up, failure is inevitable. Happens every time. But if you don't, according to our scripture, what do you get? You get harvest. What is harvest? Produce, gathering, reaping, and return. Only if you don't give up. You want to guarantee failure? Go ahead and quit it. You want to see harvest? keep on fighting. Keep on swinging, keep on running. How are you going to support? One of our favorite scriptures, I say it a lot, is faith without works is dead. So, there is something that we have to do. We have to do Philippians 4 and 6. Do not be anxious about anything, but in every situation, by prayer and petition, with thanksgiving, present your requests to God. So, it doesn't do us any good if we're concerned, if we're being anxious, if we're looking over our shoulder, if we're worrying, if we're doubting. It said, do not do those things. I know sometimes it's hard, but you have to stay in this word to give you the power not to do those things. But in every, I was going to say underline every, but you all have paper Bibles. But in every situation, by prayer and petition, here's the thing, with thanksgiving. Meaning, as you're praying about these things, you have to pray in a sense of thanksgiving. You have to pray believing that you know God will bring these things to pass. That is so important in your prayer life, because if you pray in doubt, how can God move one doubt? He can't. But if you pray and believe, what's the big word we're talking about? Trust, believe, and receive. If you pray like that, that will open up God's ears, because you're showing faith. God can move on faith, but He can't move on doubt. And I like to give you the old saints thing, and it says, if you pray, don't worry, and if you worry, what? Don't pray. That's old school stuff, but it still is relevant today. If you worry, don't pray. If you pray, ain't no point. But I like to add a different word to this. If you believe, don't worry. And if you worry, don't even bother believing. I kind of feel like that. That's right. What's the point? Because God's not going to listen to you anyway. So if you're going to believe that God's going to do this thing for you, you might as well cross off the word worry, because those two words can't go together. Worry and believe don't work together. Which one are you going to, you got to pick a side. Either you're going to pray and believe, or you're going to worry and doubt. Which one are you going to do? Being in a holding pattern will for sure test our faith. It will test our trust, and it will definitely test our belief. So we like to speak about faith a lot. What is faith? By definition, faith is the substance of things hoped for, and the evidence of things, key word here is not seen. You believe things that you can't yet see in the natural, because they're at work in the spiritual. That's what faith is all about, and that's why people have a hard time becoming Christians, because they need to see it to believe it. But the faith is just the opposite. You got to believe it, then you'll see it. And if you don't believe it, you may not ever see it. Because without faith, it is what? You can't believe God without it. So you have to have the ability to know something is going to happen that you can't yet see. So when we are waiting for God, we don't see the end result. We don't know what the end result is going to be. All we have is our faith. That's all we have is our faith. I was speaking to a pastor just the other day, and I was telling him about my situation, and he said, well, how do you get through it? I said one word, and it got quiet for literally 30 seconds. He didn't have to respond. I said, I pray. This is the pastor. He was surprised, and that's all I said. How do you get through it? I pray. And the phone went silent. I thought he was going to fuck with me. That's all we have is our faith. When you're going through something, all we have is our faith. But isn't that what God wants us to be? Solely relying on Him, So, when we are in our holding pattern, and when we are waiting for God and being patient, at that point we can never lose our faith. We can never lose our faith. Because if we lose our faith and we try to do something to help it or fix it, inevitably we are going to do what? Mess it up. And that's what normally happens. Because we're waiting. We waited as long as we can wait. All right, God must, here, let me pretend I'm you. Okay, so I'm waiting. Now, Pastor said without faith, well, we said faith without works is dead, so I'm waiting, I have faith, so I must have to do some work to help my faith along. And then we do something to try to help it along, and then we mess it up. And then God's like, dang it, now I have to move all and fix all this. Again, you just could have waited a little while longer.
Amen. And that's what we do.
You remember King Saul? He was the first king of Israel. Let me give you a quick backstory. We're going to look at 1 Samuel 13, 8 through 14. So they were in a battle. The king was there with his army, and they were about to go into battle. But every time they were in the battle, they always would have, at that time, Samuel, the prophet, would offer offerings. And that would help them win the battle. So at this point, they're waiting for Samuel to come. Samuel said he'll be there in 7 days. They're waiting for him. And things are happening. The enemy is starting to press. And the soldiers are getting nervous. Some of the soldiers are leaving. And they're getting scared. And they're getting concerned. And so there's some issue here. He's not here yet. Samuel the prophet is like, hey, what should we do? So that's the backstory. So we picked it up at 1 Samuel 13 and 8. It says, when Saul waited 7 days, according to the time set by Samuel, but Samuel did not come to Gilgal, and the people were scattered from him. So now Saul is nervous, because the prophet's not here, and my soldiers are getting scared. So what's happening? Impatience is starting to set in. Some of you might be able to relate to this, right? Verse 9 it says, so Saul said, bring a burnt offering and a peace offering here to me. And he offered the burnt offering. Now it happened as soon as he had finished presenting the burnt offering that Samuel came. And Saul went out to meet him that he might greet him. I know somebody's been here before. You're waiting, especially if you're going back to your childhood. You're waiting and you're waiting and you're waiting, and so well, let me just do this thing. And as soon as you do it, oh man, here they come. Now you're in trouble. Now you're in trouble. If Saul just would have waited, not even a day, another hour, Samuel would have shown up. But he couldn't wait, and he did. And Samuel said, what have you done? I love Saul's response. Saul said, when I saw that the people were scattered from me, here it is, and that you did not come within 7 days appointed. See, it's your fault. You said you will be here in 7 days. You didn't show up. Blame game. Point the finger at somebody else for your impatience, but it's your fault because you didn't get here in time. Blame game, right? And the Philistines gathered together. Then he said, the Philistines will now come down on me at Gilgal. So now he's rationalizing his action. Well, I thought they were going to come get me, so I had to do something. You weren't here. They were scared. I was nervous. What else am I supposed to do? I had to do something. Rationalizing your behavior. And he says, and I have not made supplication to the Lord, therefore I felt compelled to offer a burnt offering. I had to do something. What else am I going to do? And Samuel said to Saul, you have done You have not kept the command of the Lord your God, which he commanded you. For now the Lord would have established your kingdom over Israel forever. See, man, if you would have waited just another hour, you would have been king almost for the entire world. But because you had that little bit of impatience, do you know how many people are in the grave because of a car accident, because someone couldn't wait for the light to turn red? They think, oh, there's no cars coming. I'll get through real fast. Accident, death. Impatience will take a life away. In this case, impatience took a kingdom away from the king. Only if he would have waited another hour. And 14 says, but now your kingdom shall not continue. The Lord has, I love that, has meaning that he already done it. Yes, I said done it. The Lord has sought for himself a man after his own heart, from King David. And the Lord has commanded him to be commander over his people, because you have not kept what the Lord commanded. Simple impatience, you can lose everything. Everything. Once you consult with the Lord and you believe, even if you're not sure, but if you believe God is saying this to you, you need to wait to make sure. Because if you go off and do something against God, that thing is guaranteed not to work. And you're going to be fighting basically against God. So I want to close with this last scripture, Psalm 37, 7 and 9. It says, rest in the Lord and wait patiently for him. Do not fret because of him who prospers in his ways, because of the man who brings wicked schemes to pass. Cease from anger and forsake wrath. Do not fret. It only causes harm. For evildoers shall be cut off, but those who wait on the Lord, they shall inherit the earth. I should read that one more time. For those who wait on the Lord, they shall inherit the earth. When we are in our holding pattern, it is a very difficult time. But we have to have the confidence, the belief, the understanding that a holding pattern is just what it is. It's holding. Meaning it cannot last forever. As uncomfortable as it is, as frustrating as it is, as annoying as it is, that plane cannot spin around in a circle forever. It eventually has to land. All we need to do is hold on and just have patience and have faith and know that the end result will be better than where we are now.
Amen.
And if we can just hold on to that, maybe that's why they call it a holding pattern. If you hold on to that, your tomorrow is guaranteed to be better than yours today. Amen?
Amen.
Will you stand with me?